If you are leading change, building a team, or implementing new procedures, Gonzaga University's online Masters in Organizational Leadership gives you the tools for success. With concentrations in change, global, and servant leadership, you'll get the most relevant training and education to help you tackle any challenge. Visit gonzaga.edu/leader and find out how Gonzaga's organizational leadership degree can affect positive change in your life and career. That's gonzaga.edu/leader.
Sitting at church yesterday, sitting in the pew, 8:30 service. We get up early. And the pastor, during his sermon, Pastor Peter, he's phenomenal. And he starts talking about a number of different things. And in his sermon, he said this specifically. I guess I'll paraphrase here. He said, some things are certain. And he always relates the message very, very well. And he said, some things are certain. And he went on and then said, like the Vikings kicker will always miss that important kick. And it got a big laugh because we all could say, well, yes, he's right. They always do. And then guess what? Hours later, Greg Joseph made it. And with it, our collective hopes were raised from the dead. Even my wife now asking about the Super Bowl, which is probably inevitable.
I've been in this league a very, very long time. And, Tampa Bay did it last year, getting hot at the right time. And I think, things are just starting to come together for us to definitely move in the right direction.
Patrick Peterson never played for a Super Bowl team, but he knows one when he sees one. My wife, too, apparently. After the win, I was running around screaming, yelling, excited. She starts asking me, so the Vikings, they could still make it to the Super Bowl, huh? I was like, yeah, they could. They're 5-5. She said, well, what if? I said, I'm 40. I'm a man now. I've never seen him in a Super Bowl. I don't know. She goes, would we go to the Super Bowl in L.A. if the Vikings make it? And then she started going, well, I think about it. You haven't been to one. You only live once. Wouldn't you want to be there and experience that in our family? Wouldn't you want to? And I just had to, whoa, I know that was fun, but let's just take a step back. I gave her the old, we'll just give it 100%, 110%. It's one game at a time. But it's back on. Let's do it. Hey, it's today's top three.
Today's top three. Number one.
What I don't get, though, I'm so confused by this. Why are Packers fans so upset about the officiating? I think this goes way back.
I'm sorry, Packer fans. I don't really like you. And I never will.
John Randall, back in 1998. Packer fans upset. All of a sudden, the Vikings are 5-5, back in playoff position, thanks to Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, who went off for nearly 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Whenever Kirk was in trouble, he just threw it up. Stay aggressive. Packer fans, though, complaining about the officials. And I'm so confused by this because I kept looking at it going, what was wrong about the officiating yesterday? Maybe, I'm not a blame the official guy, but Packer fans, why so upset? And then it clicked because then I remembered, look, Packer fans are used to getting every single bounce and they're used to getting every single call. Every single week, it's the Packers and the officials. You have to beat both. So then when a game is actually being called fairly, like yesterday, they think everyone's out to get them. So when I guess I have empathy now for that perspective, because when you're used to getting every single bounce and you're used to getting every single call that will sway a game in your favor, so then yesterday when it's called fairly, you're thinking, no, we didn't get, they're out to get us. Now I get it. Now I understand the complaints.
Number two.
It's sad that when something bad happens, automatically our culture, our society, our lives immediately go to, was this bigger? Was this an act of terrorism?
The truck came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you just hear the sound of people getting hit.
The sound was crazy.
The sound was scarred, and so was the image of it. And just seeing that happen to innocent people and seeing the aftermath.
Horrible. A tragedy. An SUV plowing into a holiday parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin Sunday, killing 5 people, 5 innocent people, injuring more than 40 others. And if you see the video on social, it's brutal. You can see a red SUV speeding around the parade marchers and eventually hitting a group of participants. Now, CBS reporting, a law enforcement official familiar with the early findings of the investigation told CBS News it appears the suspect was fleeing another scene, possibly a knife fight, when he ran into the people at the parade, and the incident didn't appear to be an act of terrorism at this time. But that's where our minds automatically go to. And why Waukesha? Waukesha, about an hour away from Kenosha. So top of mind with the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict from last Friday. But our first thoughts were, this is terrorism. This was tied to the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. And you think about this, it is tragic on so many levels.
Number 3.
And on Kyle Rittenhouse, you notice how this has become totally politicized? Have you noticed how it's the loudest people making the most noise? It does not reflect society, but it is the loudest people from the extremes making the most noise about what at its core is a tragic situation in and of itself. And all they're doing, these extremes, these political extremes, utilizing a situation to anger the other extreme, and all of us here in the middle, 85 to 90% of us as humans, are the collateral damage.
If it was an African-American young man carrying that style of weapon, there would be no court like there was none for Jacob Blake. He'd have been shot down in the damn street, and that would have been the end of the story.
And that's in Kenosha. Jacob Blake's family talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. We have 2 cases, both capturing the psyche of the American public. Kyle Rittenhouse acquitted of all 5 charges on Friday afternoon. And now you have halfway across the country in Georgia, you have 3 white men on trial for killing a black man, Ahmaud Arbery. Both cases, race has not been the focus of the arguments in either trial, but both, it looms large in this country. But on Rittenhouse, that is where we have the charges. He was acquitted of all 5 charges. And no matter how you feel about this, take one step back. People are dead. Jacob Blake is paralyzed. That in and of itself is tragic. How do we get to a better place moving forward? That's what we should be focusing in on, and we should be focusing in on working together to do that. Instead, after the acquittal, we have extreme voices from the extreme right propping up Kyle Rittenhouse as some sort of hero, offering him jobs in the political, as an intern in politics. For what exactly? To upset the other extreme. And guess who's caught in the middle? All of us going, oh, this is just enough, okay? It's just enough. We're going to talk about all this with Mike Padden. Was Rittenhouse, what went wrong with the prosecution? And the defense, what went right? And also, too, being Wisconsin and Minnesota, was he mischarged? Or what happened here? We'll talk about it all with Mike Padden at 10:30. Right now, Adam Thielen dedicating this one to all the kids across Minnesota. Much love for my guy, Adam Thielen. It's something only he truly understands. I'll explain. That's next.
Greg Joseph to win it. He's got it. Vikings a winner.
It was only 29 yards, but how many of you really thought he was going to make it? I think deep down I did, but I kept expecting, it's going to be a bad snap or a bad hold, or he's just going to somehow hook it right or something. Maybe it's just because I just expect him, all Vikings kickers, to miss it. I just did not want the game to continue. I couldn't do it anymore. Adam Thielen, though, after the game, dedicating this one to all of the kids across Minnesota. And it's something only he truly understands.
A lot of guys, they know it's a big deal, but they don't really understand if you don't live it, Wearing the Vikings jersey all week at school and then going to school on Monday and all the Packer fans coming at you if you lose and giving you a hard time. So I'm excited for the kids to be able to go to school tomorrow and wear the Viking stuff.
He gets it because he lived it. He's one of us. Same, Adam. Same. He's one of my 3 best friends in the whole wide world. Also, as you know, second or third cousins somewhere down there. but he knows going to school on a Monday after a Packers loss at home, there is nothing worse. Nah, maybe a playoff loss. Because I remember, do you remember 98?
Yes, I remember, Corey.
I did not, that's the only time I can vividly remember being like, I'm not sick. I do not want to go to school today. After they lost to Atlanta. I legitimately. And the problem is that our school was mostly Vikings fans. Mm-hmm. And now the level of fandom is varying. And especially in 98, there's a lot of people who jumped on the bandwagon. And then there are a lot of older adults, teachers that were like, oh, I've seen them lose 4 Super Bowls, so I protect my heart. And then they allowed themselves to be vulnerable and then got hurt again. But going in on Monday morning, and I think the level would be like a bandwagon fan at 1, or maybe indifferent at 1, like, oh, the Vikings are playing, I don't know. And then like a bandwagon fan, 3, 4, somewhere in there. And then you have Buddy Aaron and I, who were 10s. Maybe ours went up to an 11. And so the next day, everyone's looking at me and him, and they're like, oh, man, oh. And I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, I'm genuinely hurt. Like, it's painful. And Adam gets it. He knows. He was a kid in 98. He knows, and he knows what it's like. And then even worse, there's the person who's not really a Vikings fan, but kind of a Vikings fan, and then they're a little bit indifferent. And so they're like, oh, man, I told you. That is the worst. Because I'm not a guy who ever chewed anybody out or swore at anybody. A couple times in my life. After the 98 championship game where somebody did that to me, and I'm like, you just don't get it. And then 2000, same thing. I was in college freshman year, and our RA met me. I drove home for the game, too, because I'm like, this is going to be the year. It's retribution.
Sure.
And got back to college, and the RA saw me and did that very thing. Like, oh, 41 donut. Whoa. And I just let him have it.
What, the RA?
Yeah, just let him have it.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not even like that, but I what did I say? I said, that's low class. But I yelled it.
Oh, it's low. He did not take the high road like Denny Green.
This is low class.
That's Bush League, sir.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bush. Wasn't there a game that you just took off running to? Did you tell me that story?
Improbable Bobble game.
Okay.
Yeah, Packer game. Yep. Monday Night Football when Chris Dishman deflects it right into Antonio Freeman's back, and he turns around and runs it in. Mm-hmm. The Vikings turned it over in that game 5 times, had a field goal, much like yesterday, to win it at the end, and it was like 30 yards. Muffed the snap, and so then Mitch Berger's trying to throw one in the end zone. So they went to overtime, and I went bonkers. I was sitting next to Buddy Marshall, who's a Packer fan, and he was respectful, and I was like, what in the – and I left the room and sprinted around to Morehead State and back. I just had it. Because Adam gets it.
He does.
There's nothing worse than losing to the Packers and having to face that. And I was thinking about this. Why are there so many Packer fans in Minnesota? I think there's 3 main reasons. Now, Western Minnesota is a little bit different because Adam, Detroit Lakes, Perham, same thing. There weren't as many as there are here, clearly. But there's still some. So I have 3 main reasons. 1, the border, right? The border, it's close.
Yeah.
Now, are there a lot of Vikings fans in Wisconsin? I don't know. I don't spend enough. Well, I don't spend time in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're wise enough to stay west of the border.
So, the border's close, right? In the Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of people in western Wisconsin where there's a lot of small towns. More of a rural area in western Wisconsin anyway. So, of course, the Twin Cities has a ton of jobs. So I think that's a part of it, the border being so close. I think Packer fans, in the western part of the state, if there's Packer fans out there, I think there's 1 of 2 reasons. One being you go from Favre to Rodgers. They've been really successful for 30 years because of Hall of Fame quarterback play. So, when you're a kid, you like teams who are good, and if the Packers are good and they have a great player like they've had at quarterback, that helps. So I think that's number 2. Number 3, this is an older franchise, right? So like Buddy Marshall, his dad's from North Dakota, but his dad's low 70s. And so when he was a kid, there were no Minnesota Vikings. So Green Bay was the closest team. And they were, in the 60s winning Super Bowls. So I think there's still some of that. So then Marshall's a Packers fan because his dad was a Packers fan. And so I think you still have some of that.
It's been handed down from generation to generation.
Yeah. Now, am I off on this? I seen all the people upset, Packer fans upset yesterday, which really makes me very happy. Because as you pointed out on Friday, I'm more happy with the Packers' loss than the Vikings' win.
Yes.
Which is really, what'd you call it? Petty?
It's petty, but it's wonderful. And I'm here for all of it because I'm with you. It's much more fun to see Packer fans upset than Vikings fans happy.
But they were Packer fans after the game, and these are like heady people, smart people. And they were like, God, the officials are so bad. Honestly, I did not see one single thing that said the officials are bad. Now, the Packers caught a couple bad breaks in the fact that the first interception, which was legit, except the defender smoked Cousins in the head.
Yeah.
That's a penalty.
Helmet to helmet. It was very obvious.
So I don't, that's by the book. That's not even like a close play. Like even the commentators are like, well, I mean, that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
The second one, the ball hits the ground.
Yep. Clear drop once they went to the review.
So what are we missing here?
Well, we're missing that the Packers fans are used to getting those calls in their favor despite video evidence showing that it should not have gone that way.
So, they are used to, so last week, Pete Carroll leaves the Seahawks-Packers game and goes, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Every time we go into Lambeau, there's 4 or 5 calls that just completely sway the game. Yeah. The officials should be ashamed of themselves. And we went, we know.
They are not used, Packer fans, they're not used to seeing a game called fairly straight down the center. They are used to the game being called in their favor. So when it is called fairly, it seems to them, and I understand it, you understand why you would feel that way. It feels to them, fairness, like they're getting the short end of the stick.
So it's a psychological perception sort
Correct.
of thing.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, makes Thanksgiving a lot better. Going to eat more, going to drink more, going to sleep worse. I know that. And ultimately, I'm going to feel like crap because of it. How to avoid it, though? That's next. I always get so excited for it. Thanksgiving. Always so excited for it. And then I eat more, I drink more, I sleep less, and sleep worse when you eat and drink that much. And ultimately, I feel like crap and go, why did I do that to myself? Millions more Americans are planning to travel for Thanksgiving this year. AAA expecting 80% more airline passengers, almost 10% more road trips this year over last year, which makes sense. Still down from the 2019 numbers, but up from last year. And we're all going to be so excited, back with family, let's celebrate. But how do we make sure that we actually enjoy it and not feel like crap during and after it? Annika Christ is a director and coach at Lifetime Fitness, and she has got 4 things for us to pay attention to as we get ready for Thanksgiving. Just stuff to stock our brains with. Annika, good morning. How are you?
I'm so good. Good morning to you.
Here's to me the most important thing, and it gets overlooked all the time, but sleep. Sleep to me is such a, it's such an important thing because we don't want to feel like garbage after Thanksgiving and into Black Friday and into the entire weekend.
You're so true. And it's the number one thing for most people that I say, if you're going to focus on anything, focus on sleep right now. And if you're traveling through time zones specifically, every hour of time change, it can take you almost a full day to adjust to it. So I always say prioritize 7 to 8 hours Use some tools if you need to. Melatonin is great. Meditation. We actually put meditation in our Lifetime digital app so people can have the right things to calm down and relax their brain and get to sleep in.
Yeah, how do you like the a sleep app, Annika? Because we have, and this isn't an ad, we have Sleep Number, and and I find that it has really helped me over these last 2.5 years because I'm a data guy, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't meet my goal tonight, last night. I'm going to tonight, and it kind of like gets me set.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Sleep Number too, and I always tell people the information is so good to, kind of be honest with yourself, because a lot of us don't think it's a big deal, and then you see the numbers, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not getting good sleep. So I'm a big fan of that too.
Okay, number one, prioritize sleep. What would be next? What's number two on our list here of 4 things?
So especially during this season when you do have all the watch outs for food, and you mentioned it too, like we're usually drinking more. So I always tell my clients, number one, move every day. Find a way to walk or get some sort of workout in, something that makes your body sweat, knowing that, hey, we're all going to be a little bit mindful with our eating too, but if you're going to commit to anything, move your body. So, you've heard the 10,000 steps a day. So I always tell people, again, with family being around, like it might be cold outside, but get outside and walk after the big meal. If you're looking for workouts or inspiration, we're actually opening up all of our live streaming class for free on Lifetime.life Thursday through Sunday this week. So that's a big deal too.
Yeah, Lifetime.life. Those will be free. So prioritizing sleep, finding ways to walk or move. Annika mentioned 10,000 steps. This is Annika Christ, director and coach at Lifetime Fitness, also a registered dietitian. And on that part of it, okay, so it's sleep and it's movement, but also I know food does play an important role in all of this too, feeling better. What do we need to do here? Because we know, look, it's Thanksgiving. We've earned it. We also are excited to eat. So what should we do here so that we don't overindulge?
Absolutely. So this is where the nutrition comes in, and I'll tell my clients, stick to some high-protein snacks. We know protein is really good at feeling your body. It's good at keeping you full, and it maintains your energy and your blood sugar. So the big thing with Thanksgiving specifically is we usually eat a lot of carbohydrates that bring that blood sugar up and down, make us feeling worse. So just make sure you have protein in first. So I always give some travel-friendly ideas, so like beef jerky, protein powder, protein bars, tuna packets. Those are really good to have on hand and when you're in need. But then when you're sitting down with family for the meal, eat protein first before you get into all the starches and all the other sides. That's it's a lifesaver for so many people.
Yeah, protein first, and then you feel more full, and then you won't overdo it. The other thing on that, too, before we move on to number 4 here, I think it's easy to feel guilty for eating too much, too. And I hope that people just understand, too, that, look, one day does not make it bad, right? Like one day, let's do our best, but one day, don't beat yourself up over it, over just one day.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, too, don't let it lead into the weekend. Like, get over it, move on. Eat your best, make the best decision on your next meal. Like one day is not a big deal when it comes to health and fitness. So that's where, you want to enjoy it. I feel for a lot of people this year especially, like enjoy that time, enjoy those family recipes, but move on the next day. It's totally fine.
Okay, so we know this is a week where we eat more, we drink more, we sleep less, and ultimately that can make us feel like crap. So, Annika Christ, you're labeling, giving us 4 tips to think about as we head into Thanksgiving week here. Prioritize sleep. 1, find ways to walk or move. 2, pack high-protein snacks. Number 3, forgive yourself, too. That's 3A. And then also, what would be number 4, Annika?
Yeah, so I always tell people, be proactive and do a little planning. So again, you probably know what your week's going to look like for the most part coming up. So again, if you're going to be in a hotel, see if there's a gym or a workout space to get that movement in. Maybe you're going to go grocery shopping as soon as you land, or do like an Instacart to get healthy snacks wherever you're staying as well too. So the idea is just plan where you can. It's good to pivot. It's good to be able to be a little bit more lax around family and friends. But pick up a couple of those healthy things to plan ahead of time so you're much more likely to stick to your routine and not go way off the deep end.
Okay, Annika, real quick, your perfect Thanksgiving meal all the way from, just your plate, what's it look like, and then also the drink that you have to go with it. What does that look like for you?
So for me, we have the same recipes almost just about every year, but we always do a really great turkey. Brussels sprouts with bacon. If you haven't tried it, roast Brussels sprouts with bacon. It's amazing. We always have some sort of sweet potato mash, which is great. And then I always do a full food stuffing. So not stuffing out of a box, but like sausage, celery, carrots, all the seasonings. That's usually on my plate. And then for dessert, I do love a little pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
I have to go gluten-free in my house, but we definitely have that. And then I love a glass of red wine.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my go-to.
All right, save a spot for me. I'll be over.
I will.
It sounds great. Annika, thank you for jumping on this morning. Have a great week. Just know I always appreciate you and love our chats.
Me too, Corey. Thank you.
Annika Chris there, registered dietitian, director and coach at Lifetime Fitness. How about that stuffing? I'm a big stuffing guy, Dave.
When done well, and she nailed it. You know, you get the sausage in there, you cut up the vegetables, you know, the celery and whatnot, the onion, you get the spices. I can't wait till Thursday.
Mm-hmm. You missed the Vikings game yesterday, didn't you?
Most of it. Caught the last 3. Well, no, you know, I turned it on. First thing I saw was the 75-yard touchdown the Packers had with, 2:17 to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my wife's family was over to do an early Thanksgiving at our house, which is nice because now we don't have to do 2 of them on Thursday. So I can just focus on the one meal with the good stuffing and completely just.
Oh, there's a good stuffing?
Yes. Yes, my family's stuffing is the good family stuffing. My wife's family's stuffing, God bless all of them, but it's trash.
Oh, do they know you feel this way?
Yeah. No, I've made it very clear, especially my wife. She was dishing out leftovers last night, and, you know, this person, they really like the stuffing. I heard them talking about it. Let's, give them a little extra. And I just kind of looked at her and I said, deadpan. Why? And she gave me the eye roll. Stop being a bleep. You know what? Mm-hmm. No, they put apples in the stuffing. So they put apples in the stuff. It's just terrible. It's
as
really
a
bad.
Good son-in-law, you wouldn't just say, this is all right, and just take a small portion every year and not say anything. No, you've got to make it well known that.
No, I don't say anything. I mean, I have in the past, but I didn't yesterday, aside from the one offhanded comment to my wife and all the days leading up to Thanksgiving when I said, hey, could we make the good stuffing since it's going to be at our house, which isn't normal? Maybe we could make the good stuff. And she, not very politely, turned me down.
Mm-hmm. Now, do her parents like you?
I think so.
Yeah.
They haven't said otherwise.
It's Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe holding that between the two of them.
Like I said, they haven't said otherwise.
You are the father of their grandchildren, though. Mm-hmm. Can't get out of that one.
No, they're stuck there.
Mm-hmm. Apples in the stuffing does it for you, huh?
Oh, it's just not. It's not good. We make
Is it warm apples?
Well, yeah. It's baked, or else it comes out of the bird. Yeah, it's not. My family does the old sausage sage. the whole. And hers, it's not good. You're getting me in trouble.
No, I know this is
a lot of trouble.
We got 2 more days of it too. Got a full week of it now. Up next. I don't know that there's anything more Minnesota than this. We heard Adam Thielen's comments about going to school the next day, but I don't know that there's anything more Minnesota than this. I'll explain that next. Nothing more Minnesota than this. It came out 25 years ago today, and it truly, truly is us.
I'm trying to find the Troubleman doll. Me too. Do you have any more in the back? What? You see that? What did this say? These guys are looking for a Turbo Man? A Gentleman doll, yes.
They're looking for Turbo Man.
It's in the Christmas canon, the Christmas movie canon, along with Christmas Vacation, along with A Christmas Story, along with Christmas with the Cranks, but along with Home Alone and Die Hard. Yeah, Jingle All the Way. Released in theaters 25 years ago today. I know Blois had mentioned this. They actually had a premiere showing at MOA like last week, I think. I think it was the 16th. But today, theatrical release. I got 3 facts for you about Jingle All the Way, things you did not know, because I didn't know them about Jingle All the Way, which was shot here in Minnesota, of course. Number 1, yes, filming took place in Minnesota for 5 weeks in April 1996. And at the time, Jingle All the Way was the largest film production to ever take place in the state. Number 2 opened at number 4 at the box office behind Star Trek First Contact. Do you know? Do you remember what that one was about?
Star Trek. I remember seeing it, but I can't remember which one that was. I think that was like the Next Generation crew doing something.
Space Jam.
Sure.
Which has, I think, been out for a couple weeks at this point. But Michael Jordan can't beat it, right? Space Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Mel Gibson. Give me back my son!
Oh, really?
Ransom.
Wow.
Yeah. This one had a $75 million budget for Jingle All the Way. $75 million budget.
Wow.
And it made its money back and more, $130 million. Can you imagine that movie making $130 million at the box office today? That's insane. And then number 3, so I'm going to give the fact here, and then I'll give it some context. So number 3, it coincided with the Tickle Me Elmo craze of Christmas 1996.
Oh.
So it came out 25 years ago today, and then this was the can't get your hands on the Tickle Me Elmo. So it was kind of perfect in that because the movie was out, and it was also kind of a snapshot into what was happening at that particular time. The problem they had with this movie, and if you watch it, most people think it's horrible, and, well, most critics thought it was horrible. 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. They're all wrong, mind you. Film is phenomenal.
I think they've nailed it.
It didn't know what it wanted to do. Like, is it a satire on Christmas commercialism? Is it a goofball movie? And they kind of flip back, and it's like, and Phil Hartman is putting on an acting clinic. He is so good in this movie. He's so good, but everyone else is really weak, and it really shows. Now,
hallmarks of a good movie, by the way, all those things you just said. Doesn't know what it wants to do. The acting is very weak, aside from Phil Hartman.
Critics, that's what they said.
Uh-huh. That sounds like you're agreeing, but go ahead. Go on.
So Arnold, here's the context of that last one. Arnold didn't sign on to do the movie until February.
And they shot in April.
Shot in April. The parade scene was after they shot in Minnesota. That's shot in California, which makes sense because they're putting on jackets and it's like, why is it sunny and awesome out? But also, too, because of that, they didn't have a year to prepare for the large rollout of the actual doll Turbo Man to coincide with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to create this like, oh, look, everyone wants one, the kids want one, all that. But they didn't. I mean, it was really go, 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 go. And so they only had 6 months to kind of get this thing out, and it didn't really work.
Oh, really? The merchandising failed.
Yeah. So this one is absolutely in the canon for me and Camille. We watch it every single year. Last night, let me tell you, I've been laughing this one off, too, and saying, oh, God, another Home Alone movie. Because the new I think it's Home Sweet Home Alone came out with the kid from Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, I saw a trailer for that. It looked decent. What do you think?
So I was doing things in the kitchen, and Camille's watching with the kids. I was kind of getting their lunches ready because, I'm a good dad and good husband. And I was kind of getting a lot of things ready. And so what I heard was a lot of laughing, and I was paying attention. It was funny.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a shot-for-shot remake or anything like that. It wasn't trying to be Home Alone 1. It had this, it's like Cobra Kai thing where it was like, all right, we're not trying to do that. Tip of the cap to Home Alone. Mm-hmm. But it was one-liners and funny and satirical. It was funny. I want to watch it again. All right, up next, I think we have to be careful using the words forever, never, always. Target saying, meh, we don't care. This is permanent. Pete Najarian next.
Love It or Leave It is an insanely funny, wildly popular, critically beloved, extremely handsome podcast hosted by former Obama speechwriter John Lovett on Crooked Media. Each week, Lovett, that's me, is joined by comedians, journalists, activists, elected officials, and more to break down the latest news with humor, analysis, and light optimism wherever applicable. New episodes drop every Saturday morning. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen.